This is the podcast to improve your English listening skills while learning something new in English. Every episode, we bring you interesting topics in simple and clear English, so you can listen, learn, and grow. So, sit back, relax, and let's get started.
Okay, so today we're gonna dive into like the earliest known kingdom in Indonesia.
It's all good.
Yeah. And we're using these excerpts from the Kerajaan Pertama di Indonesia PDF. And I guess our goal is to figure out what this kingdom was all about. Like, what were the key takeaways about this place?
Yeah, and like, what does it tell us about, the bigger picture of Indonesian history?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so we're talking about the kingdom of Kutai Martadipura.
Kutai Martadipura, okay.
Yeah, and it was located in Muara, which is like right on the Mahakam River in East Kalimantan.
East Kalimantan, got it.
Yeah, and like one really important thing to remember is that this is like the ancient Kutai.
Okay.
Sometimes they call it Kutai Kuno.
Kutai Kuno, yeah.
And it's super different from that later Islamic kingdom, the Kutai Kartanegara.
Right. Totally different.
Yeah, so just keep that in mind as we go through this stuff.
Okay, yeah, so East Kalimantan, I mean, that's like a pretty good distance from like the places you normally think about with Indonesian history.
Right, yeah.
So like, how do we even know about this kingdom?
Well, we have these Yupa inscriptions.
What are those?
They're like these 7 huge stone pillars.
Stone pillars, okay.
Yeah, and they date all the way back to the 4th century CE.
Wow, 4th century, that's old.
Yeah, it's really old. And what's really cool about them is that they have all this writing on them praising the Kutai kings.
Oh, wow, so they're like directly from that time.
Yeah, exactly. And they also talk about like all these important rituals and ceremonies they used to do.
Oh, wow, so what language are they in?
They're in Palawa script and Sanskrit.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's like a direct look into their world.
That's so cool, just like reading the actual words from like over 1600 years ago.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
So they talk about kings, so like who was like the first guy?
All right, so the first king they mention is this guy named Kudunga.
Kudunga, okay.
And his name's really interesting because it doesn't sound like it has any Indian influence.
Ah.
Yeah, unlike some of the later kings. So this makes historians think that he was probably like a local leader.
Okay, so he was like already there and then decided to start a kingdom.
Yeah, pretty much. It seems like he was the one who kind of kicked off the whole kingdom system there.
Interesting. So like maybe they had a different system before that.
Yeah, possibly.
Huh. Fascinating. Okay, so then what happened next?
Well, then you have Kudunga's son, Aswarman.
Aswarman. Okay, now that sounds a lot more Indian.
Exactly, yeah. And that's a big clue right there.
Okay.
His name shows us that Indian culture was really starting to have a major impact.
Okay.
And the inscriptions actually call him Wamsakarta, which means like the founder of the dynasty.
Oh, wow. So he's like the real deal.
Yeah, he's the one who really established the dynasty.
Got it. So he's taking these Indian ideas and like solidifying his power.
Right, exactly. It was probably a really smart move,
Yeah, it makes sense.
Like embracing these new ideas about like divine kingship and stuff.
Oh, yeah, like the mandate of heaven kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. It probably helped him a lot with trade and diplomacy too.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so then who comes after him?
So then we get to Malorman.
Malorman.
Yeah, that's a Warman's son. And this guy seems to be like the biggest shot of them all.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the inscriptions talk about him like he's this super powerful and wealthy guy. And they say he was incredibly generous too.
Oh, wow. So, like, what did he do?
Well, there's this one story about how he gave like 20,000 cattle to the Brahmins.
20,000 cattle? Whoa, hold on. Like, are you serious?
Yeah, it's right there in the inscriptions.
That's a lot of cows, man.
Yeah, I know, right? It's crazy. It just shows you how rich and powerful this kingdom was.
Yeah, and how important those Brahmins were.
Exactly. And they even describe him as having like godlike strength and virtue.
Wow, they really liked this guy.
Yeah, they really did.
Okay, so 20,000 cattle, that's a pretty big offering, you know what I mean?
I mean, it's a huge sign of their wealth and the importance of these rituals.
Right, so what was like their religion all about?
Well, they were predominantly Hindu.
Hindu, okay.
Yeah, and specifically they followed the Shivite sect.
Shivite, okay.
Which means they worship the god Shiva, and the Brahmins, those priests, you know, they had a really high status in society.
Yeah, I mean, giving them 20,000 cattle makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. And they were like the main guys in charge of all the religious ceremonies, like the Yajna rituals.
Yajna rituals, what are those?
They involved like animal sacrifices and offerings and stuff like that.
Oh, wow. So the whole kingdom was Hindu.
Well, it's important to remember that we're mostly getting this information from the inscriptions, which focus on the kings and the elite.
Oh, right.
So it's possible that not everyone in the kingdom was Hindu, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense.
But the Hindu system was definitely the foundation for how they ran things.
Yeah, okay, so we have these inscriptions, but is there any other proof that this kingdom was real?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay.
I mean, the Yupa inscriptions are like the main piece of evidence, and those are now in the National Museum.
Okay.
But archaeologists have also found other things like Hindu statues and gold jewelry and all sorts of religious tools.
Yeah, okay, so it all kind of adds up.
Right, it all fits together.
Cool. Okay, so what happened to them? Like, how did this kingdom end?
That's the thing we don't really know for sure.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there aren't a lot of records about what happened to Kutai Martadipura later on.
That's too bad.
Yeah. But historians think that they were probably either absorbed by, or maybe they had some conflicts with that later Kutai Kartanagara kingdom.
The Islamic one.
Right.
So like they got taken over or they just kind of faded away?
Yeah, something like that. And over time, Hinduism was replaced by Islam in the region.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so it's pretty amazing to think about how this kingdom like changed over time.
Yeah, it really is.
It's like starting out with Kadunga, this local leader, and then becoming this like powerful Hindu kingdom.
Right, and it's fascinating to see how they went from like local traditions to being heavily influenced by Indian culture.
Yeah, and it wasn't like they were forced into it or anything.
Right, it seems like they chose to adopt these new ideas.
Yeah, it was like a gradual process.
Yeah, like with the king's names, you know.
Yeah, going from Kudunga to Aswarman and Mulawarman.
Yeah, it shows you how much they were influenced by Indian culture.
Right, and their religion too.
Exactly.
Okay, so to sum it all up, we've got Kutai Martadipura, this ancient Hindu kingdom in Indonesia.
Right.
And we know about it because of these amazing Yupa inscriptions.
Yeah, these stone pillars that tell us all about their kings and their culture.
Exactly. And we've seen how they blended local traditions with Indian influences.
Yeah, it's a great example of cultural exchange.
So I guess this leaves us with a question for everyone listening.
Yeah, think about this.
If Kutai Martadipura is this great example of cultural exchange, what does that tell us about how different cultures interact?
Yeah, like how do ideas spread from one place to another?
Right, and how does that connect to the world we live in today?
Like, are there any parallels between what happened back then and what's happening now?
Yeah, good question. Something to think about.
Definitely.
All right, well, that's all the time we have for today.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Thank you for watching this video. Hopefully useful. Don't forget to like and subscribe.